It is the Hall of Famer, longtime left tackle for the Jags, Tony Boselli, joining us here on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Tony, what's going on?
Not much. Just heading to a little event here on Friday night, but doing good. Beautiful day and looking forward to a good game Sunday.
Yeah, so are we, man. Maybe you can help our listeners understand, because you know this. It's an under-discussed team in the AFC, even though they've achieved a lot. Who exactly are these Jaguars? How good are they?
They're a complete team. I mean, they are a good football team that is playing much better defense than I think anyone expected coming into the season. And I think they've been one of the top run defenses, forcing teams to throw it. And they've gotten their hands on the ball quite a bit. I think they're either second or third in turnovers. So they've done a great job on that side of the ball. And then offensively, they've been solid. They've probably underperformed a little bit because expectations were so high with, being Trevor's third year and getting Calvin Ridley. And they've been good. I just don't think they've been great yet. I still think they have room for improvement, which would make this team even better.
What do they do offensively that's going to give the Niners trouble? I see that they go to Travis Etienne a lot, and you go to some 12 personnel with the 2 tight ends, but primarily it's the 3 wides and, moving Christian Kirk around, and Calvin Ridley's been a weapon. What's Jacksonville going to bring that makes the Niners fans a little bit nervous defensively?
Well, I think, it starts with the quarterback, and he can beat you with his arm. He can beat you with his legs. He's very, very athletic and does a good job of getting the ball out of his hands. And so he's been really solid, making good decisions down this, during this 5-game winning streak. But, beyond the quarterback, they want to run the ball at Travis. And he's had a lot of carries this year, and he's done a great job. And then in the pass game, I think the offense goes through 2 guys in the pass game, and that's Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk. Those are his 2 favorite targets. I mean, I think that's where he goes on third down when, maybe the big shot isn't open to Ridley. And so I think the one thing that makes this Jaguar offense dangerous is they can go in the game and, it could be 1 of 3 guys leading them in receptions. And Trevor will really take what the defense gives them. So if they can protect, if they can hold up, give them a little bit of time, I think they're going to have success.
Tony Boselli joining us here, Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game, especially because you were a great left tackle. I'd like to ask you about the 49ers left tackle. Their run game's been struggling lately, coincides with him getting hurt. How much of the Niners' struggles recently can directly be attributed to Trent Williams not being on the field?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious left tackle is the most important position in football, coming from a left tackle.
Yeah.
I think it's, in all seriousness, though, Trent Williams, in my opinion, is the best left tackle in football. I mean, he's my favorite one, at least. He's the most physical. He's equally good in run blocking as pass blocking. It's just because he finishes guys and he gets after them so much. So I think not just his play, but his attitude, kind of the mentality he brings and that presence, I think they have been missing him. And he's a big part of their success. So I can't speak high enough about Trent Williams.
What's the challenge that he faces in this zone scheme in terms of the run game? Whereas, normally a left tackle, if it's a straight ahead man blocking system, it's more just straight mauling. But what does Trent Williams have to do in terms of flexibility that might be compromised with the ankle injury?
I don't care if it's straight ahead or side by side or zone or gap or whatever scheme they're running. I think when you go into a game like this, you have to get in your head that it's not going to be perfect. And if you start worrying too much about the injury, in this case an ankle, and I've had ankles before, it's not going to work. And so it's really a mindset. The ankle's going to allow him to do what he can. Trent Williams at 80% is better than most guys at that position. So I think the biggest thing is just understand that, hey, it's not going to be perfect. I'm going to be a little bit sore, but I got to go focus on blocking because the Jaguars have a good right end in Josh Allen. He's been very good in both run and pass, so that's a big challenge for Trent. And, the last thing you want to be doing as a player is thinking about that injury.
How much of a believer are you in Brock Purdy, Tony?
I'm biased. I'm a big believer, but I also, my wife has been family friends with the Purdys and with Brock's mom since they were, in diapers. And so I've been rooting for Brock, ever since he was at Iowa State and then going to San Francisco. And, he's catching heat as of late. I mean, he went from never losing a game and being the, greatest thing since sliced bread. They lose 3, and you think he can't play football anymore. So I think he's done a great job. A couple poor decisions the last couple weeks. I think he'd like back. But if you look between those bad decisions, which you can't because those are interceptions, I mean, it's not like he's playing poor football. I think he's just got to clean things up. I just hope he doesn't do it this week.
Tony, where was everyone on Brock Purdy then? I mean, you've known him virtually for a long time, and it seems like he kind of came out of nowhere. Why did so many people miss on Brock Purdy, or has he suddenly just developed into this amazing quarterback?
No, I think you watch him in Iowa State. He put up huge numbers and was prolific passing the ball, and I think he's probably more athletic than he gets credit for. So he had a good college career. It was just at Iowa State, kind of a not a top tier Power 5 school, and then you go to the combine and everything's about measurements. And, Brock's not 6'3", and Brock's not going to run 4 or 5 and throw it 100 yards. So I think we see this quite a bit, it's still the exception, not the rule, but you see it most years that, there's guys who might not fit the perfect profile in as far as measurements and everything else, but they can play football and they're smart, quick decision maker and a good leader. And I think Brock has all those things. And so, but those are hard to measure at the combine, when everyone's focused on kind of, height, weight, arm length, hand size, all those things.
Tony Boselli is with us, Hall of Famer from the Jaguars on Willard and Dibs 95.7 The Game. Tony, we had a conversation off the top of this show, and it's been brought up on NFL Network even this morning. The fact that the Jags, 6-2, they've won 5 in a row, and on their home field coming off of a bye, are a 3-point underdog against a team that's lost 3 in a row. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction to that is don't care. Listen, I've lived in Jacksonville since 1995, and there's more times than not people forget about this team, and rightfully so for a lot of years. I mean, they were not very good. But this is a good football team, and I don't think they care. I know I could care less, what the odds are or line or any of that, because this is a good football team, and I think they're going to go out and play a good game. I think it's going to be close because I have a ton of respect for the 49ers and what Kyle Shanahan has done there with that team. And I know they've lost 3 straight, but that's a good football team, and it's going to be a really tight game.
What's the excitement level down there for not only this team, but for this game? Because we talk a lot on our station here about Niner fans and the 49er faithful traveling very well. Is there a sense that maybe it'll be a Niner takeover in Jacksonville?
Well, who knows? I mean, obviously, San Francisco 49ers have a great fan base and a loyal fan base. And I think my biggest fear is our Jag fans who are amazing, great fans. I don't want them to sell their tickets because, we've had full houses, sold quite a few season tickets, but those Niner fans, they start open up the checkbook. I just hope we don't sell too many of them because they're going to travel. They're coming. And you hope you can have enough people not looking at the dollar signs and can hold true and hold out and go be at the stadium. But I expect a pretty good showing by the Niner fans.
Vivid Seats is predicting a 57% share of Niner fans in the building, Tony. Man.
Yeah, I would bet the under on that.
Okay.
I think that's high. But listen, everyone's aware of it. Niners, Jacksonville is, obviously one of the smaller markets. It's a good football team, but we haven't won a Super Bowl. And heck, when I was a kid and growing up and even when I was in college, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott, they were the best team for a long time. And a lot of people became 49er teams, 49er fans that have never even stepped foot in San Francisco. And so I expect a nice showing by that fan base.
Tony, this was a nice showing by you. Thanks so much for hopping on, man.
Anytime, guys.
All right, there he is, the Hall of Famer, Tony Boselli, long time with the Jags, joining us.